Children of the night. Children of the night. Brandon, you know what's funny? So
What's that?
the part of that cover where I go, you never know it, but they're gonna live in darkness. I had to do that part like 30 times because he screams it. The guy that does it, Buddy Miles.
Yeah.
And I can sing the note. The singing the note's fine. Darkness. Like that part's easy, but to scream it,
Yeah.
you have to control the notes. So I filmed it because I wanted to see how bad it would happen, like how many times it would go bad. It took me 30 times to get it.
Holy shit.
I'll never release that footage because it's cringe. Maybe on Patreon, but yeah, it took me a while to get that line down. But cheers! I've got my Teen Wolf cup tonight.
Cheers! I got my Pepsi bottle tonight. Merry Christmas!
I've got a Coke. Get a little ASMR right there.
I was gonna buy a 12-pack for tonight, and I totally forgot. And there's like nothing in the fridge alcoholic, so I'm going it clean tonight. Unfortunately. There's some hairspray here. I could probably spray into my mouth, but I'm not going to do that.
Well, Brandon, let me say hello to people we got in here. We got I Can Subscribe. That's a great name. Oh, you got a Clarence Bodiger melt tonight. Good job, man. Awesome. Saturn Video, Dave Vanderhoff, Justin Smith, Afro Well. How are you? Alexis, how are you doing? Quentin Trains Horror Films. Nathan Mills, Summertime Blues, Zim Zum Forever, Midnight Geek. How is everybody doing? Nuclear Fuzzin'. How's everybody doing? Antana, Sean Senior, Jerry Nelson. How is everybody doing? Good to see everybody here. Thanks for being a big fan, Tabata. Hope to see you on tour this year. Oh, Chad Kroger's in the chat. You're a Nickelback fan, huh?
They did the song Hero, right? For Spider-Man.
And they say that a hero can... Yeah.
That song's good.
I need to cover that. That's a fucking jam.
Yeah, that song. That's besides that. So I couldn't name another Nickelback song. I couldn't name one song.
Yes, you could. Here you go. Never made it as a wise man. Couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan then, I guess.
You don't like that song?
I heard it to death, man, and not in the good way.
But dude, song was
some songs you hear to death and you love. That song just fucking I wanted to shoot myself in the head. Okay,
let me take another song from that era. What about that one that goes, not a Nickelback song, but the one that goes dun 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 dun, dun and I need you dun 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 dun, dun, dun and I miss you. Dun, 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 dun. Remember that song?
That's hilarious.
Remember that song? You like that one?
Dude, every time I hear that song, all I think about is Homeboy in the car. That shit.
Terry Crews.
I love that shit so much. That shit makes me laugh my ass off.
Dude, Terry Crews is the man. Look at this photograph. Come on. Brian, you know why I like that song? Here's the truth. That song came out right as Katrina happened. So I can never hear Photograph and not think of Katrina. And the lyrics make it creepy for me because the song for me, by the way, welcome to the Tom Savini show. But the song Photograph for me really symbolizes, like, look at this photograph. Every time I look at dude, that's all I have now of my life pre-Katrina. Look at this photo. I mean, dude, I'm serious. Like, no bullshit. You know, I really thought that, you know, I don't know, dude. I don't want to get sad now. But yeah, dude, that song for me symbolizes the next chapter of my life.
Yeah.
You know.
That's pretty insane. Not to take away the thunder of that story, but I don't really know that song, but I know the Look at This Fucking Cat version. That's what I'm familiar with.
Look at this fucking cat. Oh man. Brandon, what's been up, dude? I feel like you've been busy last couple days.
I have. Yeah. I've been doing a bunch of bullshit on the channels though. Like nothing really in depth. Just a bunch of weird shorts and AI shit. And I'm still for everybody who doesn't know, I've been completely obsessed with AI art the last 2 weeks. I've been going kind of ham with it. So I've been kind of neglecting the channel with original content because of it, but I'm going to get back into it soon.
Yeah. Rock Music Forever says, "Where's Tom Savini?" I can't get in touch with Tom Savini. I made it very clear in the description. We're talking Tom Savini tonight. I want to go over the man's career. Um, the truth is, I'd love to get Tom on the show. I don't know how to reach out to him. I don't know who to get in contact with to get with Tom, but
How
we do have
awkward would that be?
we do have a special guest coming tonight. As soon as he said he's hopping on as soon as he could, but how awkward would it be to what? Talk to Tom?
Yeah, Tom Savini.
I don't know. He seems pretty chilled. I've met him a
Yeah,
couple times at conventions. So, have you ever met Tom at a convention?
I have not. I don't think I've even seen him there.
Oh, dude, he was
I don't
always
think.
at Texas Frightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was always at Texas Frightmare. I always had a good time seeing Tom. Very nice guy, but there's a legend that he was like a really mean guy at conventions. Like he was like not really friendly to people, and took people's money and just like didn't even want to look at him or talk to him. And I always had and when our guest comes on, he actually has a story he could tell. I always had a great experience meeting Tom Savini. When I met him in 2014, I went up to him. I was super nervous because you've got these actors, and a lot of these actors, you're going to see them most of the time for one or two films that they've been in. And it's not as intimidating for some reason. But when you go to Tom, you say to yourself, like, holy crap, like this guy has done so much in his life. He was a Vietnam soldier. He did theater. He is a director. He's directed a great horror movie remake. He's created all this makeup effects for literally, the most amazing stuff from the 80s and 70s that is part like it's so part of the horror culture. It's like, oh my god, I'm just gonna say hello to this guy. And I went up to him after hearing a bunch of horror stories, mind you. Like I heard the stories, and I went up to Tom, and sure enough, he was really nice. I would say, hey Tom, I always have a good icebreaker. My icebreaker at conventions is if I'm really nervous to talk to people, I always go up and I say, I look at the table, I'm like, which picture do you like? I'm having a hard time deciding, and that always breaks the ice, gets them talking. Oh, I really like this one because this was the funny thing about this picture was blank, and sometimes the actor will go into a detail about what happened with that picture, and then you get the ball rolling. And I did that with Tom, and the same thing. I ended up grabbing the picture of him with all of his creatures and monsters he created around him. It was like this painting style picture. It's up there on the wall right there. But he was super nice to me. Super, super nice. Took a picture with me. He made sure I liked it, made sure he liked it before the next person in line met him. So I have the best memory of meeting Tom. The best.
That's good. That's good. I mean, it could have been one or two bad experiences by somebody, and those people could have been being dickheads themselves, and they kind of spread this around that he's a dickhead when it may not even been true.
Well,
or maybe they caught him on a bad day. It doesn't mean he's an asshole.
Let me see something. I can tell you about it right now.
Tom will show up for 2 ounces of blow and 2 to 3 pretty ladies.
Alexis.
Afro whale.
He's actually got a really good signature too. But check this out. So I can tell you where the story comes from because I read Tom Savini's book.
Look at that.
It's a good book. Yeah, it's a really good book. It's about his career. It's actually a memoir. There's pictures in it, but it really goes over his life and his career. And he talks about like personal things that were going on. My favorite story in the Tom Savini book is Tom Savini hooking up with this broad who wrote him a letter in 2001 that just said, hey, I'm in love with you and I want to have sex with you. So Tom flew her out and they did the deed. And then the next morning he was trying to get her out of the house, because it wasn't a love connection. So he was like, all right, you got to go. But 9/11 happened. So he just talked about having to just like keep the girl at the house for a day or two before he can get rid of her.
Holy shit.
That's what he remembers about 9/11.
That's fucking insane.
But it actually sounded like he was kind of going through a dark period of his life right there. He was just kind of lonely, and Because you think about it, he devoted his life to making these movies, dude. He was never home. He talked about really not being a great dad, not being mean to his kids, but just like he just wasn't there.
Yeah.
He just wasn't around that much. And but I can tell you the story about Tom Savini is a dick because there's literally a chapter in here called Tom Savini is a dick, and he talks about what happened. So, what happened was, and I'm paraphrasing, but because I always wanted to know about this, because as a matter of fact, I remember during this time when this whole thing went down, um, he went on Facebook. Tom Savini went on his Facebook and said, "I'm not a dick. I'm not being mean to people. I don't know where this came from. Blah blah blah." Well, what happened, in his opinion, was this girl came up to her table, came up to his table at a convention, and she had a few things she wanted to sign for him. And as she handed him the things to sign, Tom said that she asked for her to sign, can you sign it this way, blah blah blah, and gave her something to write. And at the same time, as she said that, Tom said that a guy, his person, came into his ear and said, "Hey, so and so needs you to go do like this, go in this panel room or something real quick." And Tom was just like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Apparently is what he said. And the girl thought he was talking to her when she asked him, "Hey, can you sign it? Thank blah blah blah, whatever her name." She just wanted a personal signature on these two things, and she took what he said as him talking to her instead of Tom talking to his money guy who was telling him to do something. And she storms off. Tom looked up after he started writing, realizing she took off, and he said that he got up from his table and tried to go after her to say, "No, no, 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 no. I wasn't talking to you." But he never found her. And then apparently she put this big blog out on the internet, and it stirred up this whole thing of other people saying, "Oh yeah, he was a dick to me. He was a dick to me," blah, blah, blah. But I'll tell you this. I met him after that fiasco happened, and I can tell he goes out of his way now to make sure people don't feel like he's being disrespectful.
That's good. Good on him, though. Yeah.
You know. Oh damn! Justin says Savini canceled at Frightmare, so I didn't get the chance to meet him. Well, he usually is at every one, so that's a shame. This will be the first time he's not there in a while.
He's got to be like what, pushing 80 years old?
He's
now?
75, but he's still in great shape. He's healthy. He's able. I mean, he keeps himself. He takes care of himself, which is really cool.
Yeah.
You know. But I want to talk about Tom tonight because I was listening to a podcast with him, and when they were going, it was actually the Full Moon Freak Show, which I listen to it all the time. But and for the chat as well, I want to start out with, Brandon, I've been bugging you to do a just a thought on this.
It's coming.
But and you don't have to give your number one, but you can give one that comes to mind over your favorite. When you think of Tom Savini, what is, and the chat as well, I want to hear what you guys say. What is one thing from Tom that stands out for you? That's just like, when I think of Tom Savini, I think of blank. I think of this because to me, this is one of his best works he's done. Super creative, that kind of thing.
I think when I think of Tom Savini, the first effect shot that comes to mind is the zombie leaning over and Day of the Dead and the guts spilling out of his stomach.
Yeah.
It's a simple thing, but that's what I relate to Tom in my head. The first thing that comes to mind. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Blu-ray Addict agrees, thinks that's his best work.
I would have to agree with that. I think Day of the Dead's probably his best. Maybe not like his necessarily realistic. Not that he's known for doing super hyper realistic gore, but like Day of the Dead that work in that movie is a masterpiece. I would say the Burning is really fucking good too, though. His work in The Burning is insane.
And that has that crude early 80s, like with the fingers getting cut off and that bright red blood.
Yeah. I think his work in The Burning is better than his work on Friday 1 or 4, in my opinion. The Burning is so damn good.
But you know what I think his best work is? If you told me this is his best work, I wouldn't argue with you. You haven't said it, but if you told me Tom's best work overall is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
That's in my top 3 of his.
Because it's much more than just Leatherface's mask in that film. The stuff he does with is it LJ? Is it LJ? LG?
LG,
The
the
stuff he
body.
does with LG. I mean, and Zombie completely homaged that whole film, and even in some of the gore stuff that he does, it's Savini was doing that back then, and it's so obvious when you look at House of a Thousand Corpses and watch Texas Chainsaw 2. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I would say Chainsaw 2, Day of the Dead, and Burning are probably his top 3 for me, at least. And those
but
impressive.
But you know something, dude? Like when I think of what his best creation could be in terms of creatures, you got to look at. I mean, good God, you got to look at Creepshow. I think I'm seeing people in the chat right now. People are saying Creepshow, Creepshow, Creepshow. That's where people learned about him. Fluffy is such this cool monster, you know. But I always like Father's Day, the effects
Yep.
of the zombie skeleton.
That zombie is so damn intricate and detailed, man. I think that's probably the most impressive piece in the movie. Father's Day, or maybe the waterlogged zombies, whatever
Tide
sequence
you
that
over.
is. Yes,
Yeah.
there's some impressive shit in that movie, but yeah, people love that damn box monster.
Yeah.
He didn't do part 2, did he? Creepshow 2.
He didn't do the effects, but he was in it.
Yeah, he was the creep.
He was the mailman guy that dropped off the comics to the kid.
I can't believe that's Savini in that role.
He talked about that in the book too. The way he agreed to do Creepshow 2 was the second the director said cut, print, and he was done doing what he had to do, he could immediately rip off the makeup. The irony of that, he has a phobia of like having like glue and stuff on his face. So he immediately wanted to rip all that stuff off of his face. You know?
Yeah.
Goodwin, Summertime's Blues. He says his work on the Prowler is so great. Heard him say it's his most splatter kills. It's his most splattered kills in the man's own opinion. Oh, so Tom's saying he's a big fan of that too. Prowler's good film. That slasher character is kind of like this like army looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched the Prowler in a few years, but I like the Prowler.
Prowler's good.
Yeah,
I don't get to it as often as I should, but it's a good movie.
No, it kind of gets lost in the weeds a little bit. I think the movie has a fan base now because of just Tom Savini talking about it through documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I went to go do this, then I did the Prowler, and then Joe Zito directing that as well. Whenever you hear him talk, cause the first time I heard about the Prowler was on the Friday the 13th Part 4 special features when Joe Zito was like, I was doing this movie called The Prowler, and then I had to call up Tom Savini to come do the effects for it, blah, blah, blah. So that movie needs a 4K bad. Blue Underground has that.
The Prowler.
Mm-hmm.
The Prowler revolves around Valentine's Day, right? Technically. Because he carries a rose and shit in that movie, I think, correct? And there's like a Valentine's Day dance, or am I thinking of the wrong holiday in the Prowler? Or is it like a New Year's dance? Let me see. I'm asking because there's been a weird correlation between the Prowler and My Bloody Valentine. I know a lot of people like to double feature it. Like they put those movies together for some reason. So I'm trying to see if it's a Valentine's Day connection. Let me look that up real quick. That's going to bug me.
Yeah. CHH, you and Smokey look like best friends. Just slaying the show together.
No, it's a graduation dance and it's
prom.
It's Lover's Lane. So I guess that it's kind of sort of a Valentine's Day movie. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah, Smokey the Bear's off the chain. You got to get him on the podcast, like directly on the podcast with his own box and everything.
I need to. Brendan, I picked up a Blu-ray today, dude.
Nice.
I've been taking it easy on buying movies. But question for everybody in the chat and Brandon, have you seen a movie called The Barn?
I have not. I've been meaning to though. I have not seen
Uh,
it.
well, I've seen the barn, and it was a charming little movie.
Mhm.
Um, I liked it, and then I went on Amazon the other day. Um, I forgot what I was doing on there. Probably just checking the tracking on the dentist or something. Which we got to talk about that in a second. And then all of a sudden it says recommended, and then I saw this. The Barn 2
Nice.
came
I
out
heard
on
about that.
Blu-ray. And on the cover of it, Darcy the Mail Girl, Joe Bob Briggs is on here. Um, Ari Lehman is on here with his keytar.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like this sequel ramps up a little bit in production, and they got a bunch of legends involved, and so I got The Barn 2, Part 2.
That's awesome.
So I'm gonna watch that soon. Yeah. I didn't even know they made a second one. But I like the first one. You'd love it. It's this charming little Halloween film. So
Yeah, I've been meaning to see it. I started watching Candy Corn. I
it's
watched about
okay.
it's sort of the same kind of vibe, right? Like really low
Same kind of
budget
vibe.
slasher, 80s ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't finish watching that movie, but I need to see The Barn, among other
Yeah.
things. There's so many movies I need to see.
Creasefold with a $2 super chat. God bless Creasefold. Thank you very much. He says, "Evening, guys. Have a great night." You too, Creasefold. Thank you very much.
What is this cult thing I keep seeing? What's going on in the chat, people? I've seen like 3 or 4 comments about this cult. Is there an inside joke I'm missing?
No. So what it probably is we had a podcast episode the other week about unsolved mysteries, and the
Uh,
episode evolved into us talking about our own personal horror stories and things we've dealt with in life. And I've encountered a cult. I've actually encountered a cult. Did you hear the story?
no,
I
I
could
did not.
I could tell you the story if the chat doesn't mind. Listen to the story again.
I must have missed this Unsolved Mysteries episode. Or maybe
Yeah.
I watched like half of it or something. I don't know.
So, long story short, there's a school about an hour from me, and this school was on this long road in the countryside. There was a school built on this long road, and then basically, long story short, the school shut down because they couldn't get people to go there because the families lived so far away from this school on the outskirts of the county that they would just send the kids to the schools in the neighboring counties because it was just easier for the kids to get to those schools. So this school shut down. They tried to open it. They tried to open the school up a few years later as a Baptist community college. And then that shut down in 89. So this road is now nothing but oil field patches. And I was doing work out there. I was working flowback. I was working the oil field jobs at the time. So my buddy says, "Hey man, I didn't give away this kind of detail on the podcast, but I'll give it away now." He goes, "Dude, you know about that school, blah blah blah." I'm not gonna say the name of the school, just because I don't want to admit to going on private property.
Yeah.
But he goes, "Dude, you know about that school, right?" I said, "No." He goes, "Dude, well, what happened was in the late '80s, the janitor was sneaking kids into his room at the bottom floor level. He was doing bad stuff to the kids, and then people found out about it, and they tried to burn the school down, and they didn't burn it down. The school's been abandoned ever since." And I was freaking out, and I didn't believe him at first. And he was like, you see over here?" I was like, "Yeah, what is that?" "It's just grass." And I'm talking, it was grass 7-8 feet tall, just completely overgrown grass. He goes, "Come here." We parked the truck across the road, and we're walking by this grass. I'm like, "What are we doing?" I said, "What the hell is going on?" He goes, "Come here." We're walking through the Brandon. When I say this is the creepiest thing I've ever seen in my life, we're walking through grass that is literally 3 feet taller than me. I'm pushing out the way. All of a sudden, we get through some of the grass, and I see a driveway, and the driveway veers hard left. And I realized what happened was at the start of the road, it was 2 driveways. The right side you pull in, like carpool, pick up your kids, and then it goes right out, boom, right onto the road. We were coming in on the right side. And we got through the grass far enough, and I said, "Oh my god!" Literally got past the grass, and all of a sudden, it's a school. I'm talking a big school, but you can't see it from the road. The grass is so overgrown in the front of everything, you can't see it from the road. This school is horribly abandoned. It's overgrown. It's completely covered in graffiti. And I toured the school, and I'm shaking. There's some school books still in some of the lockers from like 1986, 85. Graffiti's everywhere. There's cult symbols all over the school. Roofs are holes in the roofs. There's spots where the floor completely cut out. So you gotta watch where you're walking. And I was terrified. I got the hell out of there. I ran out of that school. And there's a water tower. I never talked about this in the podcast. There's a water tower that the rumor was he would take some of the kids that he killed and bring them up to that water tower and drop them in the tower. And the rumor was if you go up the tower and you listen, you can hear the kids screaming for help. You could faintly hear it in the water. And I was like, oh, I got to get out of here. And the water tower's there, and it's rusted, and it's a small water tower, but it's a water tower. So I leave that. I get the hell out of there. We go back to our work site. We finish our work. We call it a day. We go home. I tell my wife about this, and she's like, well, don't ever go back there again, because I couldn't sleep the next couple of nights. I was terrified. When I closed my eyes, I was back in the school. So I get into this band. I was in a punk band for a while. And how's everybody doing in here? Tingles from ASMR. Hey, how are you? This is one of my favorite. Girl, if you don't make some ASMR videos, I swear to God. Hi, everybody in the chat. Let me finish the story. I'm assuming you guys are enjoying this. Brandon, I hope this is working for you. This is where the story gets good. This is where the story gets good. And listen, right hand in my heart. I'm in this punk rock band, and I tell my singer about it. Well, he goes, well, guess what we're doing this weekend? I said, oh, I ain't going back. He goes, oh, you're going back. He talks me into it. We go back to the school at night. I'm getting creeped out now. We go into the school. I show him where it's at. We park the car. We got to be careful. It's private property. This is owned by somebody bought the land, and they just haven't demolished the school. I don't know why. So they bought the land. We pull up. It's like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I've got my cell phone with the flashlight. You got your flashlight on the phone. My wife, the singer of my band, and his wife are all having fun. They're chit-chatting. And mind you, we're not drinking on the property. We're not throwing rocks. We're not breaking stuff. We're just exploring. And for some reason, I separated from them. They kind of went left, and I went right in the same way. The right side. They kind of went to the left where there was like this whole playground, and you can go into some of the faculty. There was like a faculty building on the left, and they kind of went over by there. And I went into the main hall where all the lockers were and where all the main rooms are. And mind you, right at the top of the main entranceway where the big double doors were, they were gone. The double doors had fallen down. But somebody spray painted, they found out about me. Like the whole place was graffitied in the lore of this story of the janitor who was killing the kids and throwing them in the water tower. I went down that hall, and instead of taking like the second or third left like I did, it's a big school. Second or third left like I did, I kept going down all the way down to the end of the hall. And then it cut hard right, and there was another long road that way. And it led to the auditorium. Now, Brandon, I'm not making this up. I take that right, and I'm heading to the auditorium. I get freaked out talking about this because I always fear that they saw me and that they're gonna get me one day. I'm not kidding. So I head down to the right, and when I go, and the auditorium was big. I peered through. Luckily, I wasn't making any sounds, But I peered left and I'm looking into the auditorium and I saw these candles in the shape of a upside down star. And I was frozen for a second. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I truly couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I heard this weeping sound. And I realized what it was. It was an animal. I don't know what kind of animal it was. I don't know if it was a dog. I don't know if it was a cat. I don't know if it was a little baby pig. I don't know what it was. And as soon as I heard that, all of a sudden, I noticed the lights from a distance started to kind of illuminate that room a little bit, and I saw the figures behind the star, 5 or 6 of them, and I saw the outlines of human beings, and it looked like they were in some kind of outfit. I back up, I sprint. I've never ran so fast in my life. I get back to the front of the school. My wife and my singer and her wife, they're out there, and you know, they're like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I said, "We gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go." I'm repeating myself like that. I'm terrified, and they're like, "Dude, relax. What's going on?" I couldn't say it because I didn't think they would believe me, and I didn't want them to find out. Because my singer was a crazy son of a bitch. He would have gone in there and been like, "Yo, what the?" He don't care. Just doesn't care. And they're like, "Christian, we gotta go." And I'm like, "No, F you. We gotta F and go now." I'm yelling. They get me out of there. We finally take off. And they then asked me, "What did you see? What was it?" And I told them. Until this day, they don't believe me. They don't believe me. My wife doesn't believe me. She thinks I'm full of shit. But I'll never forget that. I'll never going back to the school ever again. And I never will. I never will. But that was in reference to what people are talking about with the cults. So cults are a real thing. Without question, they exist. I saw one that night. They were sacrificing an animal. They were.
So where the fuck is this school? When are we going? And what kind of movie can we shoot there?
I'm not shooting a damn thing over there, dude.
Yeah, you need to write a good structured script and do a voice recording of that story with no video, just a black screen. Have some creepy ass drone music in the background, and I'll get 100,000 hits right there.
Well, see, you got to help me out with that.
That's a freaky ass story. That's a movie right there. That's a movie.
Well,
Even the water tower guy is a movie.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the scariest thing I've ever encountered, man. The water tower, I get chills when I see it because Brandon, you can see it right behind the school. It's not a big water tower. It's probably about the tower itself or the dome is probably about the size of my bedroom. It was a small little local water tower that the school used. And it was rusted, but you could climb it. You could get up there. And they say it's rusted, there's holes in it, but I'll never forget when he's like, if you go up there, the legend is if you go up to that tower and you poke your head in, you'll if you listen closely, you'll hear the screams of the children. I'm like, oh, fuck, I can't do this. I can't do this. But the story is obviously made up, but the story, here's something I kind of believe in. I think you can give power to things and manifest things in a sense. And what I mean by that is the school didn't have a janitor that was hurting children. It shut down because of economics.
Yeah.
But the building itself is covered in graffiti in the lore of this story. They found out about me. It was almost beautiful, to be honest with you, in this macabre way. The graffiti above the main doors that says they found out about me. And then you could walk through and you would see I took them this way. And the arrows were pointing to the janitor's office. And there's satanic symbols, 666s everywhere. It completely turned into the lore of this. So it was, you realize now I completely got to change the thumbnail after this and the name of this episode to telling more horror stories. But that's fine. That's the way I like to roll. But yeah, I think the building has manifested evil in a sense. It's now like a temple for satanic energy,
Yeah.
Have you ever encountered anything like that? Have you gone to a haunted house, a real haunted abandoned building or anything?
I've been to a ton of them, but I've never run into any kind of cult or anything. So
You
not
strike
on
me as
that
the kind of
level.
guy that You strike me as the kind of guy that doesn't really believe in a lot of the mumbo jumbo.
I believe in a lot of it. A lot of it frightens me. I question a lot of it the older I get. But about a year or two ago, when Isabella was only a baby, we Shanna's parents live about 45 minutes from my house, and we visit them every weekend. And they live in a pretty rural part of Titusville. It's near a place called Mims, which is a very big wooded kind of area, remote rural area. I can't say that word tonight. And there's a big abandoned compound about, I don't know, 15 minutes from her parents' house. Left Isabella with them. Shanna, her brother, and I went over there to get some footage of it. Footage I still have, actually. I need to put together this video and release it on tobattovision. But we explored this big compound, and they kept saying it was an abandoned insane asylum back in like the 70s, 80s. And I didn't really believe that, because every abandoned building is a fucking abandoned insane asylum, right? That's always the thing. And then I found that it actually was an abandoned insane asylum. It wasn't an insane asylum per se, but it was like a medical clinic for the unwell kind of thing. Basically a modern day insane asylum that had been closed. We explored it, covered in graffiti, out in the middle of nowhere. Drug paraphernalia everywhere. While we were there shooting drone footage, a bunch of kids showed up and started breaking shit. And we talked to them for a while. So you could definitely go out there and get hurt or murdered or worse. So that was the most recent thing. But yeah, I've explored some stuff like that.
Mm.
So I totally believe the story, especially if the place is the place you saw is a local legend like that. There's no doubt going to be people like that doing weird shit out there. You know what I mean? So I completely believe the story.
Do you ever wonder if these people that, are involved in this kind of stuff, do you ever wonder if they could be 2 doors down from you? And they could be a normal person. They could have a family. They could have children. Like, you know what I mean? Do you ever, because you don't really ever hear about cults getting arrested, getting caught for doing stuff. You almost gotta wonder if people involved in this stuff are smart. Have you
I feel like they've got to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No doubt there are people down the street. It's the lady working at the gas station. It's the guy who, I forgot to move. Yeah, Shanna's dad. We actually asked him about it, and he actually worked there as like an electrician or something when they were actually in operation in the 80s. So that's when I knew that the place was actually fucking real. Trippy shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome to the show the Dark Lord Pizowell. Pizowell. How are you, brother?
Cheers. How is everybody?
Piz,
what's going on?
I'm actually glad you're here now, man. I've never asked you this before. And these live shows they're chill, they go off the rails, and we get into stuff. Have you ever visited genuine, abandoned, creepy hospitals, schools, anything of the such?
Nothing that I can talk about on the air. I'd have to check. Let's see. What's the statute of limitations on? Hold on.
Well, I mean, you don't even have to.
There was a hospital in my old hometown that I desperately wanted to break into because they'd abandoned it. Yeah, the town outgrew it. It was a small hospital, but it's the hospital where I was born. It's the hospital where Jeremy was born there. I had a grandmother who was all the time in and out of the hospital. So I was all the time like at the hospital with her, roaming the halls, thinking about Halloween 2. And so eventually the town outgrew it and they had to build a bigger hospital. And so they just abandoned that one. And I desperately wanted to break in there and just wander around. It would have been the perfect setting for a horror movie too.
Mm-hmm.
So I never got up the gumption to do it, but every time I drive past it, I'd go like, oh God, I just love to get in there. Like, I'm sure it's just empty. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that they may have left some crap behind, but it would have just been nice and creepy and
Yeah,
But I do have another hospital story if you want to hear it.
dude, let's
Yes.
go.
So the hospital that they built in my hometown, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. They built a hospital the size of, I mean, the hospital was roughly the same size as the freaking town. I don't know what they were thinking. So they had to like they basically, for it to stay in business, they had to shut down an entire half of the hospital, just shut it down. No lights, just totally empty hospital. And there was like I said, my grandmother was all the time in and out of the hospital, one thing or another. And I would love to sneak into the abandoned part, or the not open part of it, whatever you want to call it, and just wander around. Now that was like Halloween too, because it wasn't pitch black. It's like they had the security lights on, just those bright white lights, and just wander around in there. You know what I mean? I never got caught, or it's like it wasn't even like locked. Like I just walked through a door and here's the empty section. Here's And so yeah, I don't know why I like to walk through empty hospitals or fantasize about breaking into abandoned ones. I don't know. I need to think about that. There's something there. I don't know. Something
Is is the hospital that you were born in, the hospital that you were born in, is it something you can easily drive past still to this day? Is it something you can see from a road, or?
No. I don't live in that town anymore. And the last I heard, they didn't tear it down, but they fixed it up and remodeled it, and now it's something else. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know what it is now.
Yeah. Piz, I don't know if you've ever met Brandon. He's Brandon tobattovision. He's got an awesome channel. He's been doing a lot of shows with me. Brandon, you know who Piz is.
I don't like the look of him. He doesn't look trustworthy to me. There's just something, I don't know. There's something in the eyes there.
He's from Florida.
I hear that a lot. That's true. Florida man at work.
So
nice to meet you, Piz. Formally, I think we've encountered each other here and there, but yeah,
it's nice to meet you too.
Likewise.
There's this channel I love watching. I forget the name of it, but this guy, he visits abandoned, and he's very respectful. He doesn't go in there and take stuff. He doesn't go in there and mess it with anything, but he visits abandoned department stores and restaurants. And I'll be damned if he doesn't go to a bunch of places that are abandoned in Kentucky. And I'm talking abandoned departments. Like, do you have anything like that around you, Piz? Like he went to like an abandoned Ames store. I'm sure you remember those, or a Kmart's, and the buildings they're just vacant. They don't get. What's up with that? Do you have buildings like that around your town?
There was a Kmart in the town near me, and of course, Kmart went the way of
water,
the way of the gun, and it sat abandoned for a while. So you drive by it, and it was just this big abandoned building. It's been renovated. But I think that the thing with small towns that I've noticed is, especially having grown up in a small town, is like the abandoned stuff is all downtown, like, abandoned department stores and stuff, like, where, Walmart came into the area, and, like the little local hardware store just couldn't, they couldn't manage anymore, couldn't cut it. So, they closed down, and their stores just, they're empty. Or like like just some old diner, just like downtown, the town that I grew up in, the only thriving businesses that were actually downtown were attorneys at law, and is a church a business? We'll just attorneys, lawyers, and churches were the only that survived in the downtown of my hometown. Everything else, every other business, whatever it was, it all went away.
Oh man.
And then it was just abandoned buildings.
Yeah. Brandon, what about you in Florida? You guys got to have a bunch of abandoned stores and stuff around you. Like, I see it online all the time.
Yeah, there's so much crap closing down here. There's a lot of, especially in our town, there's a lot of department stores, old plazas, carousel malls, that kind of stuff that are just closed and abandoned. I'm sure they're full of drugs and graffiti and wannabe gang presence and all that stuff. But yeah, there's just so much stuff closing down and not reopening that it's just, if it's not getting demolished, it's going to sit there and rot for 20 years. So
Yeah.
we have quite a bit of it. Quite a bit of it.
Yeah. Now I will give this, like I do know my hometown is taking some really big strides toward, cleaning up the downtown and reinvesting in it. And really, the last time I was there, I mean, it looked completely different. There were actual businesses there, and it just looked like a whole new place. Even there's a small town nearby me that's what's bigger than the town I grew up in, but their downtown is, I mean, like really fancy restaurants and place, bar, high class bars. They've really done an incredible job of bringing business back into small towns, really. So yeah,
It's like I was at I want to say I went to the mall like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and all that's like the only stuff that's remained that like I grew up with is Hot Topic and Spencer's. And the funny thing is, I never see people in either one of them when I go in there. And it like I'd have to imagine you guys like it probably aren't far off where your malls like all you have like one of the only mainstay stores that have kept going are like Spencer's. And the only thing I can muster is that Spirit Halloween has to be fun, has to like subsidize whatever every Spencer's store in the malls, because Spirit does a killing, right? And Spencer's bought Spirit. That's got to be the only reason Spencer's stays open and operates on a national level in all these malls, is because Spirit Halloween basically pays their mall rent. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
It's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, I can't speak for tobattovision, but like my small town, we didn't even have a mall. We just had like a shopping center. The center of it was Walmart. And then like, as you stretched out, there used to be a video store there, and there was a grocery store there, and there was like a Chinese restaurant there, but nothing like a mall. And even like Jeremy likes to go to the mall whenever we get out and go run around, because he likes to go to Hot Topic. Of course, he loves goth kid watching. He's fascinated by goth kids. And if he sees somebody out in public who he thinks looks like a goth kid, he will point at them and go, "Goth kid." or if they're an adult, he'll go, "Goth." And so that's always fun. But he likes his Hot Topic. He likes to go in there and look for shirts and stuff and watch the goth kids. But yeah, like even in some of the bigger cities around here, there's a lot of empty stores. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even when I went to the Monroeville Mall, there was a lot of emptiness in there too, as I recall. So
sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Do you remember when you posted? You got it's been a year or so now. You got those Friday the 13th slippers. They were like little flip flops.
Mm-hmm.
You said you got those at Hot Topic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, dude. When I saw you get those, I was super excited. I immediately went that weekend to go try to find them, and I went to the mall 30 minutes from me, and they were like, "Oh no, we don't have those." And I was like, "Damn it." And so the next weekend I went to the mall an hour from me, but we were going to see Sydney's family and stuff, but I made a point to go out to that one. And they said, I showed them what it was. I was like, "Hey, I'm looking for these Friday the 13th slippers. Do you have a picture of them? We can see what you're talking about." So I literally had to go find your post you made. And I was like, "These." And the guy says, this is the crazy thing. I never brought this up to you about this, but the guy goes, he's looking up, he goes, "Dude, those are online exclusive. Those aren't supposed to be at the stores at all." I was like, "What?" So you probably might be the only person that ever got those at a Hot Topic. I don't know how, if they're supposed to be online only.
I wonder if maybe they were like a return or something. Maybe they were I don't know, but I was like, I just grabbed them. I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. So, but yeah, and a lot of their online stuff goes quick. I've noticed because I've tried to get other, online exclusives, and even if it says they're in, like I'll order it, and then a day or two later, it'll be like, I'll get the email back ordered.
Yeah.
So,
Brandon, do you ever shop at the old Spencer's Gift still? They actually got some good stuff in there, dude.
It's weird now, man, because Spencer Gifts, the Spencer Gifts we have here has been here since the mid to late 90s. And we have a pretty big mall here. It's going to hell. It's going to close soon, I'm sure. It's full of black mold and it smells terrible. All the anchor stores are gone. Our Sears is closed down. It's starting to shut down. But there's still Spencer's in there.
It's full of black mold.
it smells bad in that mall. It smells like a mausoleum. But Spencer Gifts in the old days, maybe you could walk in there and find like what Alexis just said. It's like you walk in the store and you see like weed posters and like heavy metal bands and like horror movie stuff. And like you walk halfway through the store, you just see like neon dildos all over the wall. I'm like,
candy thongs.
I'm holding Isabella and I'm like, we're going to leave now. I'm just going to,
I'd forgotten about that the last time I went there with Jeremy. And it's weird because there's that definite cutoff of like, oh, here's the Chucky dolls. Oh, cool. Jeremy's like Chucky doll, and then like, boom, butt plug. I was like, oh, right. that's quite a.
It's like that stuff shift. Was always there, but not in like now. It's like half the store is a head shop. I'm like, what's going on here?
And like you said, lots of weed stuff. So it was
yeah. It's not legal in Louisiana, but God knows I can go to Spencer's and I can get a full selection of weed paraphernalia.
Oh yeah.
I've got Friday the 13th stash jars that my wife, that's literally got the cap on it. You can put your weed in it. And Sydney, I told Sydney, I was like, hey, can you make this a candle for me? So she did. And it's actually it works the same way. It's a little glass jar. I use it just the same way, but I got some of those and made candles out of them. But, but Piz, what we were supposed to be talking about tonight was some Tom Savini. And I was telling Brandon I thought that'd be fun. I asked Brandon this, and Brandon, you said your answer was Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead followed, it's number one for sure.
So when you think about Tom, and maybe not necessarily the best Piz, but when you say to yourself, like when Tom Savini comes to mind, boom. For me, it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. When I think about Tom Savini, I think about the crazy stuff he did with LG and like the whole movie, just the aesthetic and Chop Top. The movie is so Tom Savini. That's what I think of. What is what you think of when Tom Savini comes to mind? What's the first thing? Like, boom. Because there's a lot to pick from.
I know there's a lot to pick from. Like when you said Tom Savini, there was a flood of several things actually. Like it was just
probably
bang,
the
bang,
collage
bang.
of his monsters behind
him. Like I mean, The Burning, of course, Friday the 13th. Day of the Dead. I recently went back and rewatched The Prowler the other day, and that's just Savini, one Savini gag after the other. The blade with the cutout for the neck, and like looks like you're really sawing into somebody's neck, and so there's a lot that comes to mind.
This is something I haven't seen. I think I remember somebody in the chat talking about this. Have you seen, they talked about it on, I want to say it was In Search of Darkness 2, might have been 1, but he did a movie called
Ripper?
The Ripper.
Ripper.
It's a shot on video movie. Have you seen that?
I've seen some of it. It's pretty awful. It's pretty awful. Yeah.
Even it's not even charming with Tom in it. It's just trash.
It's see, Tom, the only time Tom is in it, if I recall correctly, is he is the Ripper, but only when he's killing people. It's weird. It's been a while since I've seen that one, and I even tried to go back and rewatch it on Tubi, maybe I don't know, sometime last year, and I literally just made it through about 15 minutes. I was like, God, this is awful. So I just pulled right out.
Oh, it's on Tubi though.
It is on Tubi if you and it's like in VHS quality too. So that way you'll only see about half of it.
Wait a minute. Pitt said LA's age jabber is great. Spicy 4K action. It's his top 5 releases this year. Last year.
LA AIDS Jabber is a brilliant film. Okay, period. It's a tremendous motion picture, and anybody who tells you otherwise, I don't even want to go there.
Brandon, do you know that there is a movie called LA Age Jabber?
This is the first time I'm hearing about it. I have to see
Oh,
it now.
dude. Piz is starting a revolution.
I'm really trying to get as many people addicted to that movie as possible. It's such a great film.
Dude. Yeah, Brandon, you got to catch Piz's his last Sunday show. He did his favorite physical media releases of last year.
Yeah.
But now I saw a film recently. LA AIDS Jabber was last year. This is this year's LA AIDS Jabber, only it's more extreme. And it's called Maniac Driver. It is a quote-unquote Japanese giallo that is about this close to being full-blown porn.
What?
I did a review of it not long ago. If you missed that, you should definitely check out my review, because it's one of those movies I like, your jaw hits the floor, but then it goes through the floor.
Jeez.
And then it goes into the basement. Okay. So it's that kind of movie. I loved it. Loved it. Justin, you got good taste, my man. You got good taste.
Now, Piz, one of the movies that I fell in love with after you talked about it, I don't know if I haven't seen LA Age Jabber yet. I will rectify that, obviously.
You should.
But how does LA Age Jabber relate in terms of quality to, say, Lady Terminator, which I'm a big fan of now?
Lady Terminator is a more polished film. LAH Jabber is a little rough around the edges. It's shot on video, but it's just such a hard hitting film, I do love Lady Terminator too. Lady Terminator, I mean, that is a great film too. Truly.
Yeah, it is. Thrillers. This movie Thriller, I never broke down to pick that up.
Great movie.
Yeah, I heard a lot of people say it was good. I don't know.
I highly recommend it.
Yeah. Piz, now that you're here, maybe you can sway me one way or the other. I've had a lot of people tell me I need to go see Megan. Brandon, I don't think you've seen Megan either yet, right?
I have not, no.
Now, Piz, for some reason, I'm just so pessimistic about this. And from what I gathered, you're one of the only people that I know of that really didn't give it a praising review. And
yeah,
I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that.
I mean, maybe I was expecting too much from it. I don't know. I mean, the trailer made it look like it was going to be just, good, silly, goofy fun. And literally within the first 5 minutes, you see a child orphaned. So that kind of sucks the fun out of it. But even when like Megan comes into the picture, she doesn't do that much. Like to me, it was kind of boring. And even when Megan started, doing what a killer robot doll should do, it was very bland and just, very like I don't want to dog PG-13 horror, but like this could have easily been PG. Like I don't even know where the 13 came from. I guess because the kid gets orphaned in the first 5 minutes, but even then, I mean, it's like, it was very like, they poured a bucket of hand sanitizer on the thing.
Damn.
So
I'm gonna see it. I'm eventually gonna see it because I've had a number of people say, "You just need to go see it. It's not as bad as you think. It's not as bad as you think." But I don't know. To me, it just looked like.
I wouldn't say it was bad. Just don't expect like a big goofy fun body count kind of movie, because that's not what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the people were saying that the Blu-ray is gonna be uncut or something.
Well, I know the lady who wrote it said that her original her script for the movie had a lot of killings in it, but
Yeah.
I don't know if those were filmed or if not, or I don't know. But yeah, they said that the Blu-ray would be unrated.
Yeah, I'll probably check it out eventually then. But Brandon, you sent me this photo. Tell me what we're looking at here.
So this is the only photo I could find. I had Shanna send it to me real quick of the place that I was telling you about, the abandoned quote unquote asylum place. That's what the inside courtyard looked like the day we explored it. So all these building things are like the corridors, and this courtyard is a big open square. And you can see daylight out, but all these things, like you're in a big square and these buildings surround you, and that's the interior of it. It's pretty insane, man.
Yeah.
Just wanted to show that off.
Now, when you go, it's funny, like whenever you go to these places, do you ever, besides what I was talking about earlier, like, but do you ever encounter just other people that happen to be visiting these places? Or are you just always like, whenever you go, you're alone and nobody's there?
We encountered a few kids at that asylum that day. We were out there shooting footage.
I mean, do you
They
talk
came
to
there.
them or you just leave them alone?
We talked to them. I usually, if we're in close quarters, I usually kind of try to be proactive and communicate so I can kind of establish what the situation is. You know what I mean? And try to be as casual about it as possible. Like, is it a we need to leave situation? Is it a everything's fine situation?
Right.
But if you just don't talk to them and they're kind of in the same place like that, it's kind of like this could be really sketchy, or we could be making them feel really uncomfortable. I feel like it's better just to kind of open the lines of communication and go from there. But yeah, they were just there to wreak havoc and break shit. So it was fine. They were like looking at the drone and stuff, and yeah, but I could see that kind of stuff being really volatile. It's, in some situations, like there's a place about 45 minutes from us called The Compound. It's in Melbourne. It's this big abandoned housing development that never got off the ground besides paved roads. And there's like a couple miles worth of overgrown streets and stuff. I need to go make a fucking video out there too. That would be an awesome video for tobattovision. But yeah, there's people going out there all the time doing all kinds of heinous stuff, and the cops don't really monitor it. So I could really see encountering somebody like in the bowels of that place and having a less than nice situation on your hands.
Yeah, there's a channel that I've caught some of their videos where they go to abandoned homes and abandoned, this, abandoned that, and they were in, I don't remember where, but they found a squatter. Like there was a squatter in there with them.
Oof, yeah.
And they said they didn't film anything but like they kept hearing stuff moving around. And I'm thinking like, this is bullcrap. They're just making this up. But then like you see the squatter. So and then they stopped it and they were like, he was cool. He just didn't want to be bothered. He's just in there living. So we went our way, he went his. But yeah, there's some really cool channels that they travel all over the place to abandoned malls and yeah,
like the Proper People is one of the good ones. At least they were. I haven't watched them in a long time, but the Proper People did that kind of stuff. I think they're called the Proper People. A lot of malls and stuff like that.
People are saying this Infinity Pool movie's pretty cool. Are y'all interested in Infinity Pool?
Yeah. I've liked all of Brandon Cronenberg's movies, so I mean I'm excited to see it. I don't know if it's going to be playing at a theater anywhere near me. Right. I've heard it's pretty extreme. I've heard that it's his most quote unquote accessible movie, but yet there's like there's a lot of wild stuff going in it. So it's like it's his most accessible, yet it's extremely violent, extremely graphic, sexually. So that's an odd combination. It's accessible, but it's extreme. So I don't know.
Are these movies rated R? Like
Cronenberg's cut was NC-17, and that's what's going to be released on streaming and Blu-ray. But the cut that's in theaters is the R cut.
Interesting. Yeah, I like Possessor, man.
Yeah, Possessor is good. There was another the other one he did. I think it was his first one. I think it was Antivirus. I think so.
Antivirus. Yeah.
I like that one. So
Yeah. Good for him. You get worried when you hear the last name Cronenberg and you're thinking, oh, it's his kid. Is he just getting opportunities
oh
because of
yeah.
his name? But no, he's the real deal.
Yeah, no, he's really talented.
Yeah. One thing I haven't talked about this and I sometimes I'll do videos on this stuff, but I just never did because I didn't know how much I could have to say. Piz, this probably isn't no surprise to you, and I think you talked about this on one of your streams, but Brandon, me and you haven't talked about this at all. Bloody Disgusting said that apparently Sean Cunningham is in fact he's trying to get an actual film off the ground. And in that article it said if they can't come to a what's the terminology? An agreement, I guess, with all parties, the person that was being talked to about this in regards of Sean and stuff is there is a plan B, so to speak, with a movie that completely can avoid using Victor at whatsoever.
Mm.
So, I mean, what are y'all's thoughts on that? Do you think that they're eventually gonna just agree to disagree and they'll have to do this plan B, or do you think the success of the TV show will make Victor say, okay, whatever, let's just team up, let's do this thing, you know?
The way that I was explained, how it was explained to me is Victor and Sean's names will both be on the series, and if there's a movie, both their names will be on the movie too. So but that there's problems with the movie that aren't rights related, but they're studio related, is what I was told. So I don't know. I mean, it's good that there's. I mean, of course, as soon as the lawsuit was over, there was going to be Friday the 13th stuff, rolling. So I mean, it's good that this stuff is rolling out. But I mean, we're still, I mean, that series isn't going to be out till next year. Mm-hmm. And if they do a movie, if they could get a movie off the ground, I mean, if Sean was smart during all of this lawsuit crap, he would have had people working on a script. Or at least a story so that when it was over, they could hit the ground running as soon as possible.
Right.
Now, question about that. Victor has the rights to the Jason Voorhees name and the story of the first film, right? Basically,
there was some kind of deal was struck. The series has they have Brian Fuller can use anything Friday the 13th related. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have to stick to just the first movie and Mrs. Voorhees and young Jason. They can take Jason to space. They can take Jason to Manhattan. They can bring in the body hopping slug. They can do whatever they want. So they've got free reign with anything Friday the 13th related. Anything that's Friday the 13th related. Yeah, because Sean is a producer on is going to, in some form or fashion, his name will be on the show along with Victor Miller. Although what creative input they'll have is probably none. But see, now on the movie, I would think Sean would have some creative control.
But if there's a discrepancy with them, if they make a movie, things are a bit different there. Like if Victor Miller says no with the movies, they can't use it, correct?
I mean,
but could they use him in the hockey mask and just say Jason and not say Jason Voorhees? Would that be circumventing the system?
I'm sure that some kind of arrangement was made so that Sean could use whatever he wanted for a movie, and they could use whatever they wanted for a TV series. So yeah, that's what I think.
I really don't want both, though. I just want movies. Like if we have the choice, I don't want a movie and a TV show.
Well, I mean, they've been guaranteed at least one season on it's Peacock, right? Peacock. Yeah. So they've been guaranteed at least one season. How many episodes that's going to be, I don't know. But now I was told from somebody who spoke to Brian Fuller that he's got 5 seasons worth of story ideas already. 5 seasons.
Jesus.
Yeah.
God.
So
I don't know. We'll see. So we'll eventually find out what the deal is. Piz, when I was I was doing I do like laundry like once a month, and what that means for me is I'll do laundry every week, and City takes my clothes and puts it in my hamper, and I just never fold anything until it's like the stack gets so high that I have to.
mhm.
And so we were watching YouTube, and some of your videos came on, and just the algorithm of things, and
Mhm.
we were watching your I think it was your Halloween Ends review popped up, and we were listening to it while we were cleaning, just talking, getting stuff ready for the You Need a Candle sale we had today. And you were talking about, like, if Blumhouse charts a course to do Halloween 3, like, dude, when I say that is my worst nightmare, I truly mean it. That is my absolute worst nightmare, for him to touch, or for anything to ever touch Halloween 3 again.
Yeah, I don't
Ever.
know. I think they're done. I mean, I think they're done. I don't know. See,
It
I'd
would
heard
appear that
that
way.
I'd heard that they were doing something part 3 related, or something that was going to take place in the part 3 universe. But then I also heard that, they only had like a 3 movie deal with Blumhouse and Universal. So, I mean, the part 3 universe thing could be a series, I guess. I don't know if they had anything, any kind of deal like that. But as far as movies, they're done.
I mean, that would just be, look, what else do you need from Halloween 3? When you think about it, you find out the threat, you find out how the threat started, you find out the reason for why he's doing what he does. The only thing you don't know is if the third channel came off, which,
Mhm,
I never want to
mhm.
know, truthfully.
Right.
Why I would want to know, why I need to see Conal Cochran when he's in his 20s and 30s is beyond me. I
Yeah.
mean, I've never heard of a worse idea in my entire life. Just ever. I pray to God that it doesn't get touched.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they kept hinting at it. There was always Halloween 3 stuff, and I think just about all those movies there was Halloween 3, like, stuff. The masks, or like the opening, the font and the color of the opening credits of Halloween Ends.
Yeah.
There was lots of hints at 3 is, 3 is coming, or 3 is,
Comment, yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Oh, well. What else was I gonna say? Piz, what are both of you guys, Brandon, what are you looking forward to this year, movie wise? What's on your most anticipated list?
I don't know. That's a tough question. I'm really looking forward to a lot this year, actually.
Oh, did you get your Return to Swamp Thing 4K?
I did. It came.
Mm.
Have you watched it yet? Have you?
I have not watched it, no.
No. Piz, Piz is a big Wynorski fan. He's got to be a fan of Return to Swamp Thing too.
Oh yeah, I've got the 4K around here somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Return of Swamp Thing better than the first movie.
Same.
Everybody should, right? It's just better.
Yeah. I mean, the Swamp Thing is getting a 4K later this year, both cuts of it. So that'll be exciting,
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I went region free. I'm not even gonna lie to you, was because I was like, people were like, you got to get that 88 Films release of Swamp Thing. I was like, why is that? It goes, do you like Adrian Barbeau? I said, oh, I love Adrian Barbeau. You need to get the 88 Films version of Swamp Thing.
See, are there any other differences in that cut other than just her?
Nothing that I could remember or notice besides that, if there is.
I don't remember anything else being different from that cut than that scene, that's really, because I mean, Swamp Thing, that was a comic book movie, right? And like,
Yes.
Oh, here's just Adrian Barbeau bathing in the swamp, topless, just out of the blue. Yeah. Here's your DC comic book movie.
Yeah. Lover's Lane getting a Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen that.
It's a fun little slasher. It's not going to knock your socks off, but it's very much direct to video, late 90s, early 2000s, inspired by Scream kind of stuff. But it's fun.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'd never seen it, so I'm looking forward to that. I haven't gotten anything from Arrow in a while. I feel like they just haven't put out much for me.
They have been on kind of a slow it's been a slow time for Arrow recently.
Sonny Chiba, left and right. That's what they've been doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, we've got Lover's Lane coming, and hopefully some more new good horror stuff.
Well, did you guys see? I was actually just talking to my buddy Kyle earlier about this. Germany is putting out this House collection, 1 through 4 on 4K, and we were debating, hey, do you think Arrow is going to do the same? And I said, well, certainly not in America,
right?
Because the horror show was a different. I think Scream Factory had it.
Yeah.
Brandon loves House 4.
It's so good. How can you not love House 4?
I like House 3, the horror show with Lance Henriksen, more than 4. But the pizza scene I never forgot from House 4. That pizza scene, it's nasty, dude.
And apparently that's Kane Hodder too, playing that pizza.
Ugh.
It's weird as shit.
I don't remember a thing about House 4. I don't remember a thing about it. I know I've probably only seen it one time, and that was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Do you guys have House 3 and 4 on Blu-ray?
Yeah, I've got 1 through.
Got that Arrow set, I'm sure.
I've got that Arrow set. Yeah. Well, no, it's 1 through. It might just be 1 through. I don't know. I'll have to go look at it.
I got the 2 stories box set, and then I had to buy 3 and 4 separately, a region-free version. They're like thick Blu-rays.
I think that's what I've got is the 2 stories.
Yeah,
because
that's the American release.
Yeah, because the horror show was a Scream Factory, which I've got that Scream Factory Blu-ray. But that German box set, the box is supposed to be like leather.
Oh, dude, Germany is like on fire over there. They
get all the good. I mean, like the steel books and the media books and the crazy releases with like the statues and stuff. Like, we don't get that here. Like, what are they thinking?
Dude, don't you have one of those? Is it German? Is it Germany that puts those out? I mean, it's literal like porcelain statues that they shove the movies in the back of. Don't you have one of those? I've
got the Evil Dead one. I don't think that one wasn't German. I don't believe. Although there's a German release that's just like it. I think that one was that might have been a. I'll have to go back and look. It's not a German release. It was from a different country, but it looks just like the German release.
Yeah, those things are so cool.
Yeah.
Phil's Creepy Vids. Dude, that guy is on top of those things.
Yes, he is. He definitely
He's got a Belial basket kit, which is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
His Sleepwalkers one, I mean, it's the size of a human torso. I mean, it's the kid that turns into a wolf or a vampire. Yep. It's crazy the stuff he's got, man.
Yeah, he's got some crazy stuff, man. Yeah.
Brandon, you got to check those out, dude. Those things are, I mean, it's literal, like, these companies, they put out statues of, like, he has Texas Chainsaw Next Generation, and it's literally a 3D thing of, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre The Next Generation, the movie logo, and then Leatherface sitting on top of the movie logo with the chainsaw dressed as the cross-dresser. And then behind the thing is a media book. You pull it out, and it's like these ridiculous releases of these movies.
And what company is this that does that for the statues?
What's it?
I don't remember the name.
I know the German company that puts out a lot of the good stuff. It's called
It's not Mondo, is it?
No.
Is it Nightmare Toys? No.
What are they called?
Yeah, Google search is failing me right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking too. It's like the stuff's kind of hard to find too.
They all goodness gracious, I can't believe
Nameless? Is it Nameless Media?
Mm,
Somebody in the chat said Nameless, but
that sounds familiar. That might be one of the companies. But I want to say one of them's got like it's 84 or something, like 84 something. I don't even know. I don't know, but they do a lot of the media books.
yeah, they're crazy. I mean, they're just crazy.
Google's found me.
Yeah. I was trying to think of some of the stuff that was coming on physical media that got announced that I was excited about. Oh, I'm a little hesitant about that announcement about this Fright Night 2 Blu-ray.
Mm.
I'm worried we're not gonna, because the thing is, I don't know the company that well. I know I see this often when this company posts stuff, and I'm not disparaging whoever this is, but the Disc Father reported on this Fright Night 2, and I would see people in the comments saying like, "Oh, I'll believe it when I see it." This company, these people sometimes say stuff that's not true, but I'm a little worried. But I mean, I'm just scared that we're not going to hear much else about this Fright Night 2 Blu-ray from and whatever that company was certainly not an American company as far as I could tell. So
No, I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was the same Spanish company that put out that other Blu-ray release. I'm not. I'm pretty sure that was the new release is a Spanish release, and the old Fright Night 2 Blu-ray, the official Fright Night 2 Blu-ray, the only official Fright Night 2 Blu-ray that I'm aware of, that one's a Spanish release too.
just begs the question, how did that get released?
See, I don't know. No idea.
It's a shame. I've been doing some of these videos where I take a horror movie and I look up a bunch of old physical media releases and I show like a slideshow of them. And I forgot what I was looking up the other day, but for some reason, Fright Night 2 stuff started popping up, and I was looking at these Japanese laser discs for it. Dude, you would be just like in love with them. They're gorgeous releases, and it's Regina. She's the name of the character, right? From Fright Night 2.
Regine. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's beautiful. There's this picture of her with she's got her glowing yellow eyes in the front, and then behind her's the apartment building. And you know how cool that old Japanese text is? It's like this big bubbly words that they put on there. Oh, dude, it's the nicest stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I've got to get I mean, Piz, I know you have a lot of posters too. I was talking to Sydney about this, and she wanted we're going to film like a room tour in here soon, and I was going to put up my Fright Night 2 because somebody years ago sent me an Australian one sheet of Fright Night 2. Oh, it's beautiful. But it's not like yours. I mean, it's the apartment building.
Right.
On that. And you've got the
white
one.
Mine's the video store poster though.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool too, man. Brandon, are you like Piz? I think Piz says the better Fright Night is Fright Night 2. Are you the same?
I haven't seen Fright Night 2 in a really long time, so I really need to reassess it. So I can't really tell you, but I remember liking it a lot as a kid.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Movie.
Maybe you just have to have an affinity for, I don't know, sexy brunettes who may tear your throat out. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But I always leaned more toward Fright Night 2. I just felt like it had more character. I mean, Fright Night, I don't want to disparage Fright Night any. I love that movie to death. I think it's a classic. But Fright Night 2 just sort of had more character to me. I loved the different, you know, you've got the wolf creature, and you've got the guy who's like the Renfield eating the bugs, and you've got like the androgynous vampire on the roller skates, and of course, I mean, Julie Carmen is Regine. My God,
she's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Be still, my beating heart.
Brandon, the scene, Brandon, you have to rewatch it. I think it's on YouTube.
Fright Night 2.
It was. I remember because
Really?
Jay the Stingray was telling me one time, he was like, I told him I wanted to watch it. He goes, dude, the movie's just on YouTube.
No shit.
You could just watch on YouTube. But you know how this stuff happens. It gets on, it gets pulled, it gets back on.
Yeah.
But Brandon, there is a shot This is the most 80s thing. Piz will agree. This is the most 80s thing you'll ever see in your life. It's a shot of the androgynous character on rollerblades doing a slow-mo rollerblade towards the camera, and he's a silhouette. And it's the most daring, sexy, creepy thing ever. But it's when I say it's the definition of the 80s, it is the definition of the 80s in this film, dude.
Yeah.
And by the way, Fright Night 2, the entire thing is still on YouTube, and it looks to be it's in 720p. So I mean, it's fairly good quality, especially for
That's worth it.
For YouTube.
I'll watch that. Yeah. I keep coming across that region-free Blu-ray online, and I have not picked it up yet. I feel like I need to. I think I keep coming across on eBay or something. It's like brand new.
It's a good holdover release. How much longer we're gonna have to hold over is the question. Because my buddy Tommy was like, Christian, because I wanted to watch Fright Night 2 so bad. I did watch a little bit of it on YouTube, but I actually had stopped myself because I was like, damn it, there has to be something. He goes, dude, he went on Walmart.com. He goes, hey, this is a Fright Night 2 Blu-ray. It's just, I got it in like 3 days too, so it had to have shipped from America. But it was that Spanish Blu-ray. And sure enough, the menu screen on it's great, Brandon, because the menu screen it's this gorgeous HD shot of this apartment building and that Come to Me song with the female voice. Oh my God, it's so much better than the male version from Fright Night 1. Oh my God, it's such a great song.
Yeah. It used to be streaming, like you could find it on like Amazon Prime and stuff in high definition. So I mean it's out there.
Yeah. Piz, do you recognize this name, John Flesher? Do you recognize him? He's been around since the Dead Pit days.
John Flesher.
He's been around.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of ring a bell, but I don't. It rings a bell.
So John, basically John. I did a video a couple weeks ago now. Time flies. It probably was like a month ago or so now. But I love looking at old posters and things like that. And I did a video looking like over a bunch of Nightmare on Elm Street foreign posters. And some of those posters are gorgeous, right? And John Flesher messaged me and he goes, hey, Christian, I've actually got some of those really cool posters you were showing in your video. And so he sent me a couple pictures. Oh my God, Piz. I'm talking, John has like these original Turkish Nightmare on Elm Street 3-2 posters. Dude, the artwork is insane. And so I said, dude, can you get on StreamYard with me real quick? And we did a video where we looked at his collection. And sure enough, I was like, how did you get into this? And of course, what's he say? Oh, I was watching Dead Pit years and years ago and they were talking about posters and stuff. So he's another Dead Pit OG. So I figured maybe you kind of, but John's an awesome dude. John has the sickest collection I've ever seen. He actually hooked me up with a Rumpelstiltskin on DVD. Wow. He had a couple. So he said, thank you again, John. I love that movie, by the way, Rumpelstiltskin. But yeah, he's a really awesome dude. And he's been posting, check him out on Instagram, Piz, John Flesher, or John, make sure you're following Piz so Piz can see your collection. But Piz, I mean, it's jaw dropping. And every poster he shows off, Piz, it's autographed by everybody. Like the other day, it was Texas Chainsaw 2. It's covered in autographs. Before that, video standees. He's got all of them, Piz. He's got TCM 2, Nightmare on Elm Street 1-6. He's got all of them. He's got standees from all of them.
Wow, that's cool. Damn, he's probably sitting on a small fortune. You put those things up on eBay and make a nice little chunk of change.
You could buy a house.
Probably.
Yeah. But Brandon, what else you got going on, brother?
Not much, man. I'm just trying to recalibrate for the end of the month and push a bunch of new content next month. So
yeah,
just trying to really organize and regroup. You know what I mean?
Brandon's been obsessed with this AI stuff. Have you seen this on TikTok and Instagram? Everybody's using these AI apps where it like you upload an image and it turns it into like a high def cartoon thing.
I mean, there's one app I use to do that, but I don't know if it's the same thing. I mean, mine's not that high tech though.
Well, put it to you this way: Brandon picked up the ball and ran with it. He's like, he's making.
Yeah, I've spent way too much money subscribing to this bullshit this month. I need to stop because it's just. Oh, Christian, I think Christian's froze.
Yep, Christian's froze.
An hour and 35 minutes in, Christian, that's a new record right there. At least he's frozen a good pose.
He's back. He's back now.
My internet literally hiccups. I'm plugged up Ethernet too, pissed. I have an Ethernet cable. Literally, my wife is so pissed, but I finally got the little hooks to run it. It goes out of the horror room and it's tracked above the ceiling, and then it cuts into the living room to plug up. I have to, man. I got a new internet provider, and it's just it's a crap fest. My internet. So if I'm not an Ethernet, dude, I can't stream. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
That reminds me. Can we won't go too much longer. This has been a fun show. Can you recap the audience with the legendary, Brandon would love this story, when you had to get basically that Men in Black internet where you had the flying saucer.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. Well, satellite internet. I've wanted to do a video talking about that. That was a dark time in my life. I've wanted to do a video about it, but it's like I don't want to go open up those old wounds. Satellite internet is literally, if you're faced with satellite internet or dial up, just go dial up. I'm not joking. If you go to a satellite internet provider, they know you have no other recourse. So they bend you over, they stick it in, and they break it off. You get locked into this long-term contract. The service, I think what the plan that I had, which was like their second tier plan, was like, ridiculous data restrictions, and pricing that unbelievable. Like the price, I was paying over $100 for like less than 20 gigabytes a month of data. And that's nothing. The speeds were okay, but the issue with satellite is every time a cloud goes by your house and it breaks up that connection between the satellite and your dish, your internet stutters.
Yeah.
So half of the year when it's bad weather, I just didn't have any service. And like, if you did surpass that ridiculous data restriction, they would throttle you to the point of it. I mean, like throttle you, like beat you to death. You felt like you were being beaten to death, and like throttle your speed down to dial up. And if you continue to use it, even on that slow speed, they just cut you off. They cut you off. Like I literally, one time I was so pissed off, I called them and I said, I know I've surpassed my data. I know you've throttled me down to dial up speed, but now you've completely cut me off. And the woman's had the balls to tell me, well, we don't guarantee service. And I go, so you're telling me I'm paying out the ass for this shitty service and you don't even guarantee it? That's correct. So,
No
I mean,
way.
yes. I mean, I don't know how I mean, looking back on it, I'm like, I don't know how I survived as long as I did on satellite internet without like doing something bad. Like I literally was like, we've got to move. We've got to move. But as soon as decent internet came into my town, the contract was over. Thank God. I thought they were going to get me for just one more little knife in the back. Because when I called to cancel the service, they were like, okay, well, sir, we're going to send you a box, and you box up the dish and send it back to us. Oh, but if there's any repairs that need done on the dish, we're going to charge you for that. And I went, great. So this is their final little, there's going to be some bull crap wrong with the dish, and you know what I mean? They're going to be like, you owe us $200, $300, God knows what. It's like, this is their final little FU. But I disassembled the thing. I sent it back to him, and I never heard from him again. But literally, if anybody out there is faced with satellite internet or dial-up, do it. Just do dial-up. I swear to God.
Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare.
Absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Oh,
Mm.
but I mean, I had to have it. I had to have it. And oy vey. Ugh.
Damn, man. Good
Yeah.
old-fashioned satellite. This show is sponsored by HughesNet, by the way.
Well, that service wasn't HughesNet. I don't even remember what that service was called. But my Lord God, ooh, that was a dark period in my life.
One more story I'd like to hear about again. The time you were at the movie theater and wasn't a dude just going to town on some chewing tobacco behind you?
Oh yeah.
See, Rat Brandon, he initially
It's like, yeah, I mean, like, God, you know. Yeah. So the guy didn't even have the couth to bring in a cup or a bottle. He was literally spitting onto the theater floor.
Wow.
This is Kentucky, by the way, Brandon.
This is Kentucky. This is in a low income. Just, I mean, like, people, you just have to remind yourself, like, okay, it's a human being. Yes, they're stupid. Yes, they're ignorant, but they're still a human being. They're one of God's special children. They're just a little more special than the rest of us. Yeah. So every couple of minutes I'd hear and splat onto the floor.
Oh God.
Splat. And I could just imagine, like, everybody who was sitting in front of this guy going down the thing, his tobacco juice spit had to be running down, like, into their feet. You know what I mean? And, like, could you imagine the poor kid who's got to come in there after the movie is over and mop that ungodly crap up?
Yeah.
Oh, some kid making $8 an hour in there mopping up this guy's tobacco juice spit. God.
Poor Scratch Burno.
That's part of the reason why I hate going to. I very seldom go to the theater, because I swear to God, I'm gonna end up in prison. I'm gonna end up in prison.
Same.
But yeah, here's the thing too, and it's not like that in all areas of Kentucky. Just in some areas of Kentucky, you just have people who just they don't care where they are. They treat it like it's their living room. So, shoes off, feet up on the front of the chair in front of them, talking as loud as they possibly can, carrying on a conversation between themselves in the theater, spitting tobacco, doing probably God knows what else back there. I mean, I can imagine those theater employees finding needles, finding poop, finding bags of pee, or I'm sure bottles of pee. Cleaning up bodily fluids off the seats, off the armrests. I mean, you name it. Those kids have seen it. We're not even talking about the bathroom. Every bathroom I've ever been to in a theater is like a horror show. It's like people specifically go to the bathroom of a theater, like they don't even try to sit on the toilet. And, like, for some reason, why is the theater the place where you have explosive diarrhea? What is it about the theater that causes Is it you've put too much butter, too much of that, like,
slides right out?
Yeah, you put too much of that, like, acrylic butter on your popcorn, and it just went right through you. I don't know what it is. It's just like it's a horror show in some of these bathrooms, man. So I don't know. Like, I don't know. There's a theater we have to drive to go to it, but it's in a nice area, and it's recliner seats, and it's really well spread out, so you don't feel like you're on top of anybody. Even if it's sold out, you've still got your own space. And it's just a different kind of patron that goes there to buy to watch their movies. And I've never had an issue there. But like if I'm going to a theater in my neck of the woods, oh God, it's a crapshoot. And most of the time you're rolling snake eyes with the dumbest people in the world, like right behind you, talking about God knows what, so it's doing God knows what. But yeah, the spit thing, that one definitely, and like you could smell it, and it's just like, what a disgusting human being. Like,
That's kind of how my local theater is, man. Like when you go to my local theater, you hear cans cracking open. They don't, obviously you can't buy cans at so people just go in, they got their drinks in their pockets, and the chairs are terrible. It's like lawn chairs in there. My theater sucks. They only get superhero movies and whatever the biggest movie is at the time. So it was dude, it's so outdated too. They still have the Green Lantern from 2011 poster up at the very high part of the ceiling. It's like that movie's like 12, 13 years old now. Still up there.
They can't even get it off.
I
mean, that's the same thing with my local theater too, or the one that's closest. It's not even local, but I'd say it's the closest one to me. They've only got a limited number of screens, and they got to put the big stuff in there to get people to come. I mean, they're not gonna, if it's Infinity Pool or Megan, they're gonna stuff every screen with Megan because that's the one making money. That's the one everybody's gonna go to. So yeah.
Brandon, is Florida any better? I'm sure you got some shit theaters over there, huh?
It's mostly just the people here. Like, there's some good theaters. I just fucking hate going to them because every theater experience I've had for the last 6, 7, 8 years has been ruined by kids and adults alike, just talking through the movie, throwing shit on their phones, getting into arguments. It's disrupting the whole fucking theater experience. And I've said this time and time again, but even back when I was a shithead teenager, when I went to the theater to see a movie, I wanted to sit in the dark and watch the fucking movie. I don't want to waste the ticket money and go there and talk, with my friends or throw shit or do any of that crap. And it ruins the experience. And I never thought I'd be the guy who would rather sit at home and watch a movie from home than go to the theater. But I'm pretty much him now. Like I was delighted to see Halloween Kills at home last year.
Yeah,
that was sort of the first movie I watched at home that I would usually go to the theater for. Because like I can just sit here in my house, not worry about these asshole kids.
Yeah.
And the problem now is theater staff, they don't do anything these days either. Nobody gets kicked out anymore.
Yeah. See, that's something too. Like, back in the day, I feel like you could, like, if somebody was being loud, you could turn around and go, "Shh, can you please keep it down?" And they'd go, "Oh, sorry." Now it's like you say that, and I mean, you're going to have a camera in your face. You're going to have people like, God knows what. If I've got Jeremy with me, I don't want these people like going after, like waiting outside the theater to jump me and Jeremy, for God's sake. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like if you go and like the staff are kids. They're getting paid $8 an hour. They're not gonna, I don't even want to put them in that kind of situation for $8 an hour, let alone expect them to put themselves in that kind of situation. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just, I'm the same thing, man. I loved going to the theater, but now look, I mean, I've got a really comfortable recliner right to my left. I've got a big ass television. I got a nice sound bar attached to it. I got all the snacks and drinks I could ever want here. And, I can turn the lights down really low. So.
And that sucks, but I mean, what can you really do about it? Maybe eventually it'll come back, but I don't see how.
Yeah. And I mean, the window between a movie being in theaters and on streaming is 2 weeks. I mean, Megan is already on streaming, and it's isn't it still the #1 movie in America or whatever? It's already streaming.
Yeah. Like, what the hell is going on there, man?
So.
Oh. I don't know. I did see Piz. I did see Missing. I know you said you like Searching.
I loved Searching. Yeah, I loved Searching. I've not seen Missing yet. I'd like to. But Searching was one of I think it might have been my favorite movie of that year that it came out. As a matter of fact, it was really good.
Yeah, this is ballpark. I mean, same quality, same level. I loved it. Really good. It stars you remember the girlfriend of Will Smith in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? His girlfriend Lisa. That's
Yeah.
her. She's the star of the movie. Well, she's
Oh, okay.
co-star of the movie.
Okay.
So she was great. Good movie, and they used the Ring camera technology, FaceTime, text messages.
Mm-hmm.
Very clever. I mean, I have Searching was the first movie I ever saw that did that, and I think this is the same people. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's really good. It's really fun. They're not really great to rewatch, obviously, because
Right.
they're twist turns. But yeah, I had a blast. I could have saw Megan, but I ended up going to see Missing instead. I feel like I did the right thing.
You probably made the right choice. Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, that's a lot of college kids because I got Louisiana Tech by me, and dude, they filled their theater up for that movie. So there must be a little bit of a buzz with that kind
Mhm.
of style. And I think one thing people like about it is it's no shaky cam. I guess you would qualify it as found footage, but it's not that, running, doing all
Right.
the hoopla with the camera. So
Right.
it's really palatable for people, I think.
Hmm.
So yeah, I dug it.
Yeah.
But anyway, we don't have to go too much longer. I've had a good chill night. Piz, you got any fun weekend plans? Just gonna take it easy. What you got going on?
I think this, yeah, pretty much just taking it easy this weekend. You know, may go hit up the used bookstore tomorrow or Sunday, just to, not been there in a while, and see what they've got. Maybe take in a movie. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Do you still try to get some of those movie books, like the old 80s adaptations?
Yeah, you mean like the novelizations?
Novelizations.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I still get them. Not as much as I was there for a while, but I did recently get the Halloween novelization. I got really lucky, and there was a collector who was needing some quick cash, so he made me a bargain,
Oh,
and
Brandon, you probably love that.
so I got that one, and yeah, I'd love to get the original Friday the 13th novelization, but it goes for a pretty penny. But I've got Halloween, Halloween 2, and Halloween 3, the original novelizations of those. I've got Friday the 13th Part 6, the original novelization of it. I've got Jaws 2 and Jaws 4. Those are two of my favorite novelizations, especially Jaws 4. So yeah, those I've got quite a few novelizations.
So Scratch Bruno just brought something up I never thought about because I stopped paying attention. Do we know where Avatar 2 is in terms of box office?
I know it's grossed over 2 billion worldwide.
You're kidding.
Yeah. Yep. It crossed 2 billion worldwide. And they've gone ahead and they've moved forward with, I mean, the third one was already guaranteed, but I think they're already like, okay, let's get those fourth and fifth ones going too.
That's nuts.
But what did he say? James Cameron now 3 of the top 5 highest grossing films of all time. I mean, that's that's quite a feat.
Is it what? Is it the 2 Avatars and a Titanic?
I'd say Titanic, Avatar 1, and I don't know if Avatar 2's made it that high yet, but what else? What other one would it be?
Maybe it's the first Avatar. I don't know.
Sure, the first one, yeah. Let's see. Let me look it up here. Avatar type. Yep. Nope. It's Avatar 2. It's on there too. I'm surprised it's done that well so far. But Avatar, Titanic, and Avatar Way of Water. Wow. So the 4th place goes to Star Wars The Force Awakens, but Avatar The Way of Water is closing in on that record. So
jeez,
he may have the top 3 highest grossing movies of all time. That's crazy.
Damn.
That is crazy.
Brandon, you hitting up the good old flea markets? Get some more VHS tapes. Brandon's been going to these damn flea markets because he just racks up VHS. He got Elvira Mistress of the Dark the other day.
Did, yeah, it was sweet find. No white mold or anything on it. It was awesome. I might do that this weekend. I kind of I feel like I sort of drained that flea market now. I need to hit up some like the thrift stores and antique shops around here and see if they have anything.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's a
I
good
didn't know
idea.
that was a thing. So you brought it up about white mold. You said you got white mold on your tape. Did you know about that, Piz? White mold on VHS
Yeah,
tapes?
let me get an example real quick. It blew my mind when I didn't know about it until last year either.
Yeah.
I do see a lot of VHS tapes at like the Goodwill and the missions that Jeremy likes to go to looking for books, but they're, nothing too special.
Yeah.
I guess I had heard about it, but I never saw it in person until last year. So I got Silence of the Lambs from the same flea market last year. Really good condition, at least as far as the cover. The tape's in good condition. It looked like it was in fantastic condition. I posted the unboxing online, and the guy in the video was like, "You have white mold all over that. You need to separate that from your other VHS tapes, or it's going to spread." I haven't done the alcohol treatment yet to clean it, but this is what the white mold looks like. If you guys can see that.
Oh, I do see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if the tapes get left in moisture or humidity too long, they can start to develop this, and it'll spread to other VHS tapes.
Oh, wow.
So this is separated. So every time I'm looking for VHS tapes now, I'm looking for that shit on them. And last weekend, there was a whole rack of them full of it. And I was like, I told the lady, I'm like, you need to get those away from these other tapes. She's like, I know, I need to clean them. Like, okay, lady, whatever.
So how do you clean?
You can get like a VCR and take the top off of it. Get yourself like a cotton ball with some like alcohol on it, and put the tape in there and like fast forward it, and just keep the cotton ball on the tape and let it rub against the tape as it goes all the way through, and then do the other side of the tape as you wind it back, and it usually cleans off the white mold in 1 or 2 passes, and it shouldn't grow back. But yeah,
wow,
very strange. It's very weird.
Yeah, I've never heard of white mold before, especially on a VHS tape.
And apparently it shows up when you play it on the VCR too, and it's full of white mold. It'll look all weird. I'm like, that's really fucking weird. So
wow,
strange stuff, man.
Well, at least it's not. At least it's not off gassing.
No, those Halloween 2 VHS tapes you got, Brandon. Did you get those at the flea market, or are you just getting those?
I got those from eBay.
You got those near you? Because those are so cool.
I do. Hey, 1 second.
Yeah, go grab those. See, the thing is, Piz, I can't get into collecting VHS tapes. That's just another thing to spend money on. But some of them damn VHS tapes are so cool.
Well, one of the best. Let me see if I can grab it here.
Look at these things.
So I am pissed off. I'm pissed off about one of these. Which one is it? Okay, so this one, fantastic, right? I love this copy. I'm fucking pissed about this one, which I've shown on your channel a bunch of times.
Why?
You can't see it from this quality, but I'm looking at this cover a couple weeks ago. I'm like, wait a minute, this cover, I'm seeing pixelation in the Halloween 2 logo and stuff. Like that should not be there. This is not printed like that. So the tape inside is original. That's fine. There's no white mold on it. Things coming off. That's cool. But the cover, which is part of the selling price, whoever sold this to me, this is a fucking inkjet printed cover. This ain't even an actual cover. And I emailed the guy several weeks later. He's like, I bought that secondhand too, man. So I don't know who did that, but this is definitely not an OG cover. This is original. This one is. This one's not. Like I said, the tape is. I'm sure the clamshell is too, because it has the stub. Please return to Albertson's video, West Republic Road, Springfield, Missouri.
I love that kind of stuff.
But,
yeah, I do too. Yeah.
I don't know what the hell happened here, man. I'm kind of pissed off a little bit about it, but what can you do?
I found Nightmare on Elm Street 1 VHS at a
look at that
at a secondhand store, and it's the VHS tape that's got the tab in the bottom of it. And it looks like it's never even been opened, really. So like I didn't even try to open it to see what the tape even looks like, because it really looks like it hadn't even been opened. But yeah, I'd never seen a copy with the bottom tab on it, I guess, other than at the video store.
Yeah, that's weird.
So, yeah.
That's
My
very
question
strange.
is, I have a Critters just like that, a Critters VHS, and I'm wondering, were all VHS tapes like that, and then they got cut off? Oh, they
No,
can't, because I remember
no.
buying VHS tapes where I wonder if it was a mid '80s thing.
And it may have just been because Critters was also, it may have also been like a media release because it was also a New Line movie.
Right.
So it may have just been media. I don't know.
Yeah, those are cool. Yeah,
So
I love.
I couldn't pass that. I definitely wouldn't say I'm a VHS collector, although I do have some VHSs. I just, I saw that for like $1 and I was like, yeah, I got to take that home.
It's so fun finding them, and in the wild at thrift stores. Like I found a Wizard big box VHS the other day, and that was the coolest thing ever. Finding a Wizard and the leather case that the movies came in on the inside. Well, I don't know if it's leather, but I think it is actually. It's really nice. But yeah, that was really cool. And it's so crazy. I had a buddy, he sold it because he needed to get some cash for it. But Vestron teamed up with Charles Band and Wizard to release on CED disc Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Zombie for a Wizard Video Vestron combo. They teamed up to put those out, and he sold his Texas Chainsaw Massacre Wizard Video CED. He sold it for like $600. He got
Wow.
a lot of money for it because I didn't even know
Wow.
that they made it on CED, but it was a super limited thing. Charles Band ended up talking about it one time before, but he said, yeah, just Vestron, that we were big partners with them. We did a lot of work with them. We had a great deal with them. The way he explained his business model in the '80s too was so cool. None of his movies, I didn't realize this. He said none of his movies really made any money in the box office for Empire besides Ghoulies. He said Ghoulies was actually a big hit in the theater for him, but like Reanimator tanked, and they would go to like 1,000 theaters nationwide. But Vestron would just do advances for all of his movies. They would say, "Here's your advance," boom, and then Vestron would make a fortune on VHS tapes, just a fortune. So it's crazy the way that worked out for Charles Band, but and he lucked out. Then Paramount funded him, got them Puppet Masters. They shoved them Puppet Master tapes out to every damn video store in the world.
Oh yeah.
I was telling Brent Piz, I was telling Brandon, and this was like a thing. Brandon was like, dude, I thought I missed Puppet Master at the theater. And then I was like, oh, it's crazy. Like a lot of people thought they just never went to the theater. Did you have the same perception when you first heard of Puppet Master?
I actually think the first time I remember seeing like a thing on Entertainment Weekly about Full Moon and Paramount and them talking about like that deal and the proliferation of Full Moon movies in video stores. And I'm sure they talked to Charles Band, but I remember seeing like they were showing clips of the Puppet Master movies, and I remember thinking like, that looks really cool. I need to go check those out. So, and of course, my local video store had all of them. I think they could have had their own Full Moon section at that point too, because they were just pumping out all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love those posters for those movies too. You can't beat them, man.
Yeah, and not just Puppet Master. They were making just a ton of movies around that time with really like talented people that went on to have big
David
careers.
Allen, David Schmoller, Stuart Gordon.
David Goyer wrote Shrunken Heads, and I think he wrote at least a couple other Full Moon
Albert
movies.
Pune, rest in peace.
Pune, yeah. Oh yeah.
Charles' dad was doing some movies too. Not Richard. Richard's his brother. I forget his dad, but his dad was directing movies in the early '90s too. But my favorite Charles Band story, then we'll wrap it up. I don't know if you watched the Joe Bob Briggs show, Piz. I'm sure you have Shudder, but I don't know if you watch.
Every now and again I do.
Make the time to go and watch the Joe Bob Briggs episode of Head of the Family. The Charles Band, that movie's hysterical. I'm sure you've seen it, but Charles Band was on the show. He was a guest for the show, and they were talking about head of the family and stuff. And Charles Band said like there was a tipping point with Paramount. Like I didn't realize how successful he really was with Paramount in those early 90s until he was really talking about just Paramount was begging them, please keep making these puppets. It's like, dude, we were making so much money, pump out another one. And so that's why Puppet Master 2 and 3 came out in the same year. But he was talking about things were going so well at Paramount that Paramount said, Charles, we should option one of your movies for the cinema. And he was like, okay. And he said that like he said it was like the most like horrible post after like thing ever that happened to him. He said, and if you've seen the movie, you know why it's funny. He goes, so Paramount set up we had this new movie just done, and they wanted to demo it at a screening to see how it would go. The movie was Shrunken Heads.
I love Shrunken Heads.
I do too, but that's the movie Paramount did a screening for to see how the reaction would be from an audience, a general audience, you know, the average human being, and they see Shrunken Heads, and Paramount was like, I don't think we're going to put this one out in theaters. And then he said that just the relationship started to sour after that, you know, and then they parted ways.
You know, just on a side note, because I know Alexis was here earlier, she loves the movie Dolls. I mentioned Dolls in my review of Megan. And I actually went back and rewatched Dolls for the first time the other day, and God, I don't know how long. I'd forgot how like sweet and wholesome in a really twisted way that movie is.
Right.
And like I mean, I was just like, wow, this is such a really sweet little movie. But you know, the kid's parents are dead at the end, or they're not dead. They're turned into dolls at the end.
Right.
And now she's like sent off with this, you know, really nice heavy set guy in his, you know, wild car. But yeah, I forgot how good that movie was, and that's a full moon movie.
Yeah, you know, Piz, it's crazy too. The more I talk about Empire Pictures and I talk about, because Charles Band is one of my heroes, and I'm such a fan of his story. I read his book, by the way. It's called Confessions of a Puppet Master. Now, Piz, he really was the Paul Heyman of the movie industry. Beg, borrow, lie to get to tomorrow. And that's what he did. I mean, he did that, especially when he lost the deal with Paramount in the 90s. And with Empire, it was crazy. He talked about filming a movie called when Empire was in its heyday, he was filming a movie called Crawl Space with Klaus Kinski. And I think David Schmaler was directing it, but there was a story in the book about Klaus Kinski pulled out a blade and basically was about to stab the director.
I can believe it. Klaus Kinski was a maniac. There's a lot of stories like that about Klaus Kinski, just being like, you know, like some of the stuff on the set of Nosferatu in Paris is like, you know,
Vanish, you mean? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Some of the stories behind that movie, like, I mean, he'd be canceled a million times over today. Like how he I'm not sure how he wasn't jailed for some of the things that people say he did on the set of that movie. But yeah, he was a madman.
Oh yeah. But what I was getting back to, what I was saying real quick, was when I talk to people and I say, when I talk about the Empire catalog or Full Moon catalog, more and more people are saying my favorite Empire movie is Dolls. And I think that's cool, you know, especially because it's a great Stuart Gordon film. I forgot what the set was that they used. It might have been the Reanimator set that got reused for Doll. I'm not sure, but the set was reused for that movie. But a lot of people are saying, no, like Dolls is my favorite Empire movie. I think is Ghoulies 2 or Reanimator, one of those two. But Dolls is up there. But people love. I mean, they love Dolls.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand why. I'd kind of forgotten how good it was. So
yeah. Did you? I know me and Brandon got it first, and it was the coolest set. It was in my top 10 releases of 2022. The Ghoulies Spanish trilogy. Piz, did you see that thing?
I think I saw it, but I didn't get it.
It was great. I loved it. Hell of a release. And
Well,
I forgot that Matthew Lillard is in Ghoulies 3.
Ghoulies 3. I do have the Ghoulie coming out of the toilet statue thingy.
I love it.
Yes.
So yeah, you got to have a Ghoulie coming out of the toilet statue on your desk, right?
Yeah. I've got the big fish ghoulie that Trick or Treat put out.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah. But Brandon, real quick, Brandon, what's your favorite Empire or what's your favorite Charlie Band film? Now we're talking about it. Reanimator.
That's a
Ghoulies.
loaded question. I think probably Ghoulies 1. I mean, that counts, right?
Well, yeah, that's Empire. That was the most profitable
Ghoulies.
cinematic film Empire did.
Yeah, I think Ghoulies for sure. Dolls is so close though. Dolls is 50. It's like even keel with Ghoulies though, because I love Dolls.
Yeah.
I think it's probably got to be Ghoulies. Ghoulies is so damn dark and well made of a film. I feel like people forget how well made a film it is.
It's great. Joe Dante's a big fan of Ghoulies too, as well. Not T-O-O, not T-W-O.
Yeah.
But Joe Dante is down with Ghoulies. You know, he was making the King version at the time with Gremlins, but it's just Charlie Band has always been an innovator, but he never gets the props for, like, he wants to make a movie about dolls. He's a big fan of dolls. I mean, Puppet Master is arguably in the horror pantheon now, but what ends up being the most popular doll, not what he did, Chucky.
Right.
Then he wants to make mini monsters. Clearly, he had a reputation already of being a fan of that stuff. Guess what happens? Spielberg decides he wants to make one too. Gremlins takes over the world. Like, he's always been behind the ball, so to speak, in terms of breaking that glass ceiling of pop culture. You know, Puppet Master is getting pretty close now, I think. But
I also like those subspecies movies. Those are fun,
dude. Oh yeah, they're making a new one right now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. The last one they did though, I don't even think that one was a full moon movie though. That one's not very good. That was not very good.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you're referring to Subspecies 4 or if you're referring to the Vampire Diaries, but neither one of those.
It's subspecies 4. Yeah.
That was full moon, but it was pretty garbage. Now the new one, I think David Schmoller actually directed it too. I forgot, but it's the guy who was doing the originals. They got Anders Hove back, and they filmed it in Burma. They didn't film it in Romania, but they filmed it in Burma. And Charlie said that the director of photography was like, "We can go here and save because he's spending some money on this for once." Charlie's actually filming a feature film, not these 60-minute, 57-minute softcore pornos. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but he actually is he spent time, money, and resources to do this. So I'm super excited for Subspecies 5 because the stuff that they showed looks pretty damn good. As far as the imagery and stuff, it looks really great. So I'm hoping that'll be a good one. But
yeah,
a lot of his stuff has gotten the remake stuff. Well, not necessarily remake, but Puppet Master Littlest Reich was really cool. They did Castle Freak. Charlie let the company redo Castle Freak.
Yeah, I actually heard that's pretty good. I've got the DVD. I've just not watched it yet.
I think you'll like it. I think the original is still the best, but it's quality wise, it's up there.
And that last Dr. Death Puppet Master movie wasn't bad at all either.
Right. No, I was happy with that because he did a movie last year just called Blade, which was just piss poor. Piss poor. It was just like 3 or 4 sets the whole movie, barely any Blade. So, but Dr. Death I thought was way more entertaining. So
yeah.
But anyway, we'll start wrapping it. Brandon, what do you got coming up on tobattovision? What are you working on?
I'm working on a bunch of new Just to Thoughts. I'm trying to get those scheduled out for the next couple weeks. I'm finally working on the Let's Fix Jason Goes to Hell video. I've been saying that for a year, but I'm actually like actively recording snippets here and there for it.
How long is that going to be?
Probably, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes.
On, right?
Yeah, probably 10 to 15 minutes. Not a huge deal. I do want to do some long form video essays though for the channel this year. That would be fun.
Please do.
Yeah, finding the time these days, man. As you guys know.
Brandon did a video, Piz, last year called "The Smells of Jason Voorhees," where he guessed what each Jason smelled like.
Oh my God! Wow.
Which one would smell the worst to you? Which one smelled the worst to you, Brandon? Wasn't it Jason Goes to Hell?
I think I ranked
Smell
Jason
like
Takes
ass?
Manhattan the worst because it was like rotten fish and
Jason
something
Takes Manhattan
else.
smells like ass.
Yeah, but I put Jason Goes to Hell up there too with like rotten asshole and rotting meat and burned.
I think part 2 probably smells like bad BO.
Part 2 would have to smell like really bad BO and like
Oh, yeah.
he's gone to bathroom and he's gone to the bathroom in those coveralls
Oh,
a
yeah.
couple of times, or the
Oh, yeah.
overalls a couple of times, at least, So yeah, he's got to stink pretty. All of them's got to stink pretty bad. Roy probably smelled pretty good, I'm sure. I can imagine Roy, splashing on some Brute before he put the mask on. And,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Hey, really quick. I don't want to make this go on too much longer, but Pidge, I need you to react to this video Brandon made because I want your thoughts on this.
Okay.
Brandon made a video called "What Was Roy's End Game?" And Brandon, you go ahead. I don't want to speak for you. Tell Piz your thought on that.
Oh,
That
I think I was
video.
just curious to see what people thought of what the fuck did the video say? This is like a year ago.
It was
Christian's
basically you're
put me on.
saying like you the bit. I don't like I said.
Oh yeah, okay, I got it now. It was basically saying Roy was dressing up as Jason Voorhees in part 5. That's fine. He's a copycat killer, but what was his end game? Because if he was planning on killing all the kids at the halfway house, why did he even need the persona in the first place? Was he doing it just in case one of the kids got away? Why did he need to push this Jason thing when nobody was going to be around to talk about it? What the hell was the purpose? I don't really understand what the purpose was.
I think you answered it in your statement. I think it was in case one of them got away and he had an alias, so to speak,
right,
as Jason. That's my guess.
Yeah. He had the Jason news clippings in his pockets. I mean, he knew that it's a good alibi in case one of them does get away. Be like, oh, it's Jason, and there you go. Or maybe the spirit of Jason just possessed him. He was so vengeful over the loss of his son that the spirit of Jason, or maybe the spirit of Pamela possessed him because she was so vengeful over the loss of her son,
her child. Yeah.
And that's how he learned about Jason. And that should be an episode of the series. It really should. I think they could do a whole season just on Roy and his emotional breakdown into becoming Jason. Like Roy looks in the mirror. He's shaving in the morning and he looks in the mirror and there's just Jason standing in the mirror and he's and like behind Jason is poor Joey eating chocolate. Like, why'd you let them kill me, Daddy? You want to buy it? I'm writing this thing for him. So
Making a Murderer season 3, Roy Burns.
Exactly. There you go.
You're muted, Brandon. You're muted on StreamYard, not on your mic.
Hey.
Now check your settings. Now you're using your computer mic, not your Yeti.
Oh fuck. Okay, here we go.
What did you do, Brandon?
I unplugged a cord.
You bastard.
I know, it happens.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Oh, last thing. Okay, Brandon. Seriously, last thing. Brandon is playing Texas Chainsaw Massacre when the game comes out. Piz,
Yes.
Why are you resistant to getting the game? Are you retired from video games? You said the PlayStation 4 is right over there. It's just you got to dust it off. Come on, dude. We've got to get the gang going for some Texas Chainsaw Massacre in March.
I don't know. Maybe.
You remember how much fun you had playing Friday the 13th?
Yeah, I mean that was fun when the game was working proper. Sometimes when the game wasn't working properly, it was also kind of fun. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
I can't wait, man. I just hope we can get different leather. Can you imagine? Me and Brandon are salivating at the idea of this. picking drag queen Leatherface. Look at you. Come on, man.
Well,
That's the first one you'd want to play as.
If they're going to do it the way that they did Friday the 13th, the game, you'll have all the Leatherfaces.
You can get hit by the plane. Maybe he can take the plane and fly in the plane. That would be the best fucking level ever.
You'll have Pretty Lady Leatherface. You'll have Butcher Leatherface. You'll have Part 2 Leatherface, Part 3 Leatherface. You'll have the two different Leatherfaces from the Next Generation. You'll have them all in there, at one point or another. So I'm sure that's what they're planning on doing, and each Leatherface will have their different pros and cons. Like one Leatherface is faster than the other. One Leatherface is, and what's funny, with Friday the 13th, the game, you could like teleport around the map. Can't really do that with Leatherface. Are you just going to be chasing after everybody? I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do that unless they keep the maps like really small. I don't know.
Good question.
I don't know.
That's a good question.
I want to be able to explore like from the first movie. I hope that you can explore the grounds and explore like the actual Hardesty house, the ruined house that's down the road from the Sawyer house. I hope you can go that far in the map. Because I've never played Friday the 13th. I've never gotten a chance to play that game. But it was pretty big, right? Like the maps were pretty big.
You could choose between like the big maps, and then they had smaller, the same map, just smaller.
Yeah.
But the amount of detail they put in that game was unbelievable. Like
Dallas Jones.
There you go.
I'm sorry, that just made me laugh.
Yep, there you go. Yep, that Leatherface is slower because he's got high heels on. Yeah, that totally makes sense. But
Brandon's gonna play as a Leatherface from the 2017 film. Watch him put that crap in the game.
That'll be the first download they do.
I'm interested to see because there'll be multiple Leatherfaces just in whenever the game's released. So I don't know.
I'm excited, man. I think it's gonna be fun. There was an Evil Dead game that came out too, but I never got that. But Nick had it. He said he liked it, but I just
I really had no interest in playing yet.
Real quick, I know we keep trying to end this, but in Friday the 13th, the game you guys are talking about, I know how the game pretty much works. You're basically either Jason or the camp counselors trying to kill each other or trying to run from Jason, right? Is there an option in that game just to kind of explore the map without worrying about Jason following you? Like just to kind of immerse yourself in the environment?
You can.
The reason I'm asking is because in this new Chainsaw game, I'm really hoping there's a way you can like explore the Sawyer house without having to worry about playing the actual game. I want to be in that atmosphere. That's intense to me. You know what I mean? Like I want to.
Well, the way you could probably do that, like for instance, if you play offline version, like if you play Friday the 13th and you play what's called offline bots, if you play as Jason, nobody's gonna mess with you. They're all hiding from you, so you could literally explore the camp. And
right.
What's really cool is you can do Higgins Haven, you can do Crystal Lake, Packanack, and they went to painstaking detail to get the Jarvis house done the way it is, the halfway house, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Pinehurst, yeah, it's amazing. Now it's a shame we never got the cruise ship. There were talks that they wanted to do the cruise ship. There were talks about it, but that was when that lawsuit came, done. And I was pissed at Gun Media like everybody else, but then I understood they cannot take time and resources to wait for. They have to move forward.
See, I heard from someone in the know that they did not have to, that lawsuit did not preclude them from creating new stuff. Yes. I heard from a very reliable source that Sean Cunningham was actually really pissed off at them because they could have expanded that game. They chose not to because they were ready to move on.
And they found their excuse, basically.
That was their excuse. Yes.
Yeah.
Because if you remember one thing about Friday the 13th, the game when it was in its heyday, there was always an issue with it. And those, I think Gun Media, and there was another company involved in it too. I think they just bit off way more than they could chew, because the game wasn't intended to be a Friday the 13th game. And then they kind of they looked into being able to, get the licensing to call it Friday the 13th the game and all that jazz. And the game was it was messy pretty much the entirety of its life. And I think they were just in way over their head. Now they did follow that. They did do a Predator game, and I don't think anybody played it. That game came and went really quickly.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, they did a Predator game, and I played the demo, and it was basically Friday the 13th the game, only you were playing either as Predator hunting the Marines, or you were a Marine trying to get to the chopper before Predator killed you. So it didn't. I don't think it did very well.
Well, Piz, I'm hoping we can get you out of retirement, man, because I'm excited to play Leatherface with my buddies and talk shit on the headsets. And
yeah,
I had the Xbox and it took a shit on me, and I got a PlayStation 4 now, and I'm happy with Sydney loves the PlayStation 4.
Well, are they? Is the Chainsaw game gonna be available for 4, or is it just going to be for 5? Because I'd asked that when I first heard about it. I was like, is it going to be 4 and 5 or just 5? And people were telling me it was just going to be for PlayStation 5.
And it was, but I think it was probably a month or so after the first announcements came out. All of a sudden, I'll never forget, because it was a big deal when it happened. The outcry for making it the old systems too the demand was so intense that not only is it on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, along with Xbox Series S, whatever it's called, and PlayStation 5, but now the game is going to be able to be played crossover completely. So it doesn't matter if you have an Xbox Series S and I've got a PlayStation 4. Take any combination you want. If me and you want to play, or me and Brandon, because Brandon has that Xbox One, but it's like a nice Xbox One. He can play 4K movies on it. But
yeah, you can watch Brandon. 4K.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what you have, or a Steam, whatever it's called, the
That's
computer
awesome.
version. If you've got the game and you want to play with me, or if I want to play with you, we can make it happen.
That's revolutionary, isn't it? That's never happened before.
I never thought it could happen.
You could do that with Call of Duty games that were cross-platform, but I don't think you could have. Could you do that with Friday the 13th the game? I don't remember. I don't know. You couldn't do that with Friday the 13th.
No, you couldn't, because all my friends had PlayStation. I was so bummed out. Everybody had PlayStation 4 and I had Xbox One. I was like, God, I'm such an idiot. Why do I have an Xbox?
Yeah, because I remember we tried to get.
Sorry, Brandon.
We wanted Raiho to play with us on Friday the 13th the game, but all he had was an Xbox, so he couldn't play with us, because all of us had PS4s.
Yeah, I learned my lesson. I'm just sticking with PlayStation from now on.
Yeah,
that's what everybody gets. So, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to that. But anyway, thank you guys for hopping on. Chill little Friday night. I got work this weekend, but I'm on graveyard, so it's never that bad, because there's nobody around. So I'm just there at night by myself. But Piz, thanks for hopping on, man. And Brandon, as always,
thanks for having me.
Everybody in the chat. If you're listening back to this, hope you enjoyed it. A lot of rant. It's like a pinball show on my streams now. I just like to go all over the place. But thank you guys for watching. Have a great weekend. God bless. And we'll see you guys next time.